Let's get started. Create a new application project, Android application project, and give it any name, my app. And now what exactly do we have with this minimum required SDK? Now this is the minimum API level on which this application will run. So anybody whose phone mobile runs an API 8 will be able to run our app, until any mobile which has an API 19. So we need to see what features we are using, what API we are using, and whether that features are compatible with API 8. So accordingly we need to select what is the basic API that will want to any user to run our app on. So as we had seen in a previous lecture, what is the fragmentation of users having various types of SDKs, API level phones, and we have seen that the market number percentage users for various versions of Android that are currently running. So accordingly we can program our app to support 19 or 8, and that all depends upon the percentage of users that are carrying a particular API. So this gives us the minimum level of API on a mobile phone that will be able to run our app, and this is the target SDK which you should be taking as the latest that is available to compile your application. And we got this theme. We'll see how we can set themes and styles in different lecture. So we have just created a basic structure for an application. We can have an activity created by Eclipse, we can have a layout created by an Eclipse, but we'll just leave it as of now and create just a basic bare bone structure for an application. So now this is a bare structure for an application that is generated when you create a application in Eclipse. This is the SRC folder. Now as we had seen in the previous lecture that we have some Java code that runs behind the UI, that all Java code comes to this SRC folder. Now this is the generated folder. We'll just shortly see what files come to this. Then we have rest of these folders. Now we're not going into details of what the function of these folders are. We'll add some content to this so that we can see what really is the purpose of every folder that we are seeing right here. So as we just saw, there's a UI to every activity. Now where do we add the UI? Now we add this UI to the layout folder. So we'll just say an Android XML file. So I'll just say my first layout. So I finish this. So this is my layout. I can add a simple, say, an image to this. And a small message. So this is a UI that I have created, a simple image, or even we can take a small button to be more easier with. So I got a text view, I got a button. So we can see the code behind this view. There's a text view, there's a button. So every component that we create is automatically assigned some reference ID by the Eclipse. So these all components are referred by some ID, and rest of the things we'll just see as we move ahead. So we created a simple UI file called my first layout, and it has two components, a text view and a button, having a ID of text view 1 and button 1. So how do we refer to any components that are declared within the XML file within our Java file, the code that runs behind the UI? How does it access all these components as these are declared in a XML file? So there's a bridge that runs between the XML and the Java code. We'll just clean this project so that we get that file created. I'll just clean this. Now as soon as it it cleans up the project, builds up the project. You see this generated folder did not have any file before, and now it contains some files. Now it has a build config, it has a r.java file. Now this r.java file is the bridge that bridges the gap between the XML file and the Java code. I'll just click this up. Now you can see this is public final class R. Now this is a class which is written by the Java runtime, which should not be edited by the user. All the entries in this will be updated as and when you add more resources to the application. Now as of now we have one layout file, my first layout. Now as you can see, this finds an entry within the class layout, my first layout. Now we have two entries in this first layout. One is the text view, another is a button with IDs of text view 1 and button 1. So we'll just see if they find a mention in this file, ID, final class ID, it has a button, it has a text view 1. So every component that you declare within the layout file, it finds an entry into this file which is r.java. We got a layout entry, we got an ID entry, and any resource that you create within this res folder, it finds a mention in this r.java file. We can see as we have a drawable. Now this drawable folders, they contain all the images that you need to show up in your application, and these are the density levels, pixel density levels of various mobiles, and accordingly the system picks up the images from these folders. Now in case you don't have image which is different versions for an image for different DPIs, so you can create a simple folder simply named drawable. So you can put that image into this folder without mentioning any DPI. So any image in this will be automatically picked up the system in case it does not match any DPI. So we have iclauncher.png in the HDPI, we have iclauncher.png in the MDP, and you can see you'll find an entry for the iclauncher within the drawable class. So any image that you add to any of these folders will find an entry within the drawable class. So we got images within this resource folder, you can add to the drawable folder. You have layouts that we create within the layout folder. We have the values folder. Now the values folder is where we add any value, any variables for use in the application. Suppose we need to change the app name. I'll just edit this. So as you can see, there is a variable type string, name is app name, and there is a value called my app. Now we can change this to my Android app. So let's not go too much into this as we'll be taking up all the resources in a separate lecture. But the main thing is that this file strings.xml, it contains variables that we can refer to from our Java code. Then we have styles.xml. Now this you can compare with the CSS files that we have to style up our web pages. So all those styles, themes, they come within this styles.xml file. Now values folder we've seen, layouts we've seen. Now where do we write all the Java code? Now the entire Java code that we write comes to the src folder. So we'll create a new class, say my first, and the package that we already have been assigned for application com.example.myapp. So every activity must extend from the activity class. So every class that we make every class that has to act as an activity must extend the activity class. And the basic method, just like in case we applets, we have an init method, we have an onCreate method in activity, and we'll just set the content view for this activity. Now what that content view means is this what screen this activity will show to the user when it loads up in the mobile. So this will fixed up. So this finishes a simple code for an activity where we have only set up the view for the activity. So we can write much more to this within the activity, but as of now we are creating just a simple bare bone activity to show how this all structure works. Now there are many more folders that are not created at the application startup, but as and when you need, you will be adding those folders. Now assets is a folder where you add files, images, sound files which are not referenced by this file r.java. They will be referenced directly by you with the path from the assets folder, and all resources that we add within the res folder, they come to the r.java file. Lastly, we've got this android.manifest file. Now this contains all the complete description about what the application has. Description about the activities this application contains, what permissions this application needs to run on your mobile, what versions it is targeting. So all complete description about the application, it comes within the manifest file. So we need to add the activity that we just created. Activity Android name. Android name is the name of the class that is within this. So we got to add more things to this. As of now, this is the entry of the activity within the application. So we need to add all activities that we create within the application within the manifest file and within the application tag.